for those of you who might have attended the similar webinar sessions that we had last year, that was specifically for personal lines when we implemented card payments that is accessible via or payment or card payments that is accessible via the client portal. We would have referred to it as alternative payments. We've changed the name to Payment Gateway because of the solution that's Payment Gateway solution and capability. So wanting to say that it's exactly the same thing. Alternative payments is the same thing when we are referring to Payment Gateway. So what is Payment Gateway about? So Payment Gateway is an alternative payment option that allows immediate collection options specifically for unpaid debit orders through the use of self-service functionalities, which is card payments that is accessible via the client portal, and then also accessible for commercial lines, the quick link that's available on the commercial lines RD letter. And then there's also the SnapScan payment, and both of these payment options is triggered with the existing Santam return debit order notifications that clients would typically receive when they had a return debit order due to insufficient funds in their bank account. There's also another offering that we will be making available as part of the Payment Gateway rollout, and that is the facilitated secure payment transactions. That is an interaction that happens via the client's mobile device, and this payment option will be rolled out as part of our next phase of this implementation. So from an implementation approach perspective, we are implementing Payment Gateway solution with a phased-in approach. The first phase of the solution I briefly explained was the rollout of card payments on the client portal, which was implemented during the fourth quarter of last year, 2022. And then now the second phase of this rollout is specific to commercial line clients, where we have the quick payment link that is available on the commercial lines RD notification letter that provides a secure payment page where a policyholder can then, if they click on this link that we've made available on the RD notification letter, they can then choose to make payment, either choosing card payment or SnapScan for an immediate payment option. I just want to mention that for now, we've implemented card payments to our production environment on the 18th of May, but SnapScan was not implemented as yet. SnapScan will be coming in the near future, and we will be communicating that to you soon. And then from an objective perspective, in terms of the goals that we wanted to achieve with this rollout, we want to improve the Santam collection capabilities. And this is with a means to reduce the ratio of unpaid premiums, as well as to increase the retention of clients. And from a benefit perspective, specifically to Santam, is that for the collection of outstanding premiums, we want to see that when we receive these payments, the reduction of return debit order ratio that we've seen up until now, and at the same time, then we can then retain our clients by preventing the auto cancellations that typically happens when our client has been affected with a second RD notification. We also, from a benefit perspective, have then an option for self-service capability that then sets Santam up for the future digital landscape. And so specifically, this refers to, the payment gateway that you get via your online shopping sort of capability that you have. And this will be known as your Take-A-Lot online shopping that you do, Superbalist, Uber Eats, Uber Rides, all of this that you might be familiar with. It's exactly the same. They also use a payment gateway. So the same here, the only difference is that this is for the outstanding premiums that it's relevant to. And then for the policy holder, from a benefits perspective, it's an easy and a simplified payment method. It's simplified in that it's self-intuitive, it's not complicated, and if they're familiar with online shopping, then it should be as easy as doing that for them. And it's also immediate, so it's quicker as well. So if the money is available today and they want to make the payment, they can then do so. Just one thing to remember is that the solution doesn't change or replace any of our existing payment options. So when I'm talking about the existing payment options, I'm referring to your EFT payments or your normal monthly debit order payments. That is still in existence, that still applies. If the client chooses to still continue using those options, you can do so. But this also just what it does is it offers an alternative payment method. In other words, an additional payment that can be made, but this time around, it's an opportunity for immediate collection of outstanding funds. I also want to highlight that this payment solution, it doesn't replace or changes any of the processes that we have available. So the processes that we still apply today, it's still there. We haven't made any changes. We haven't integrated to any of the claims system processes. So that also still applies as it does today. Then from a support perspective, if there are any inquiries where a client has any issues or problems while trying to make the payment, when they access the client portal, the payment gateway portal, or accessing the link, the contact number 0860 111 is a number that can be contacted, or the email address digitalsupport@santam.co.za. So this sample letter it takes long via Teams to open up, so I'm not going to open it up. It's basically to give you a view of what it looks like, where the link is, and just additional wording to inform that there is now this easy payment method that we make available, but it is included in the content that Franklin will be taking you through.
The first portion which I will facilitate is just a reminder and maybe a refresher to some of you who have attended the session last year when we facilitated the payment option via the client portal for our personalized client. So that will be the first portion for our personalized clients, and then the second portion will be for our commercialized clients. So let's say, for example, I am your client and I have an unpaid on the policy. This is the letter which I will receive with the link which will display on that letter. So on this letter, the link will display. As a client, I will then click on this link. Once I've clicked on this link, it will take me directly to the client portal screen. And if you look at the client portal screen and you also work on the broker portal, you will see that the look and feel is very similar to that of the broker portal. If your client has already registered on the client portal, they will then use their existing username as well as the existing password to click on sign in, and then we will take them to the dashboard or the homepage of the client portal. If they have not yet registered on the client portal, they can then click on the register button. Once clicked, they will then have to complete the name, the surname, the ID number, contact information. They will complete a one-time password information. Once done, we will take them back to the specific screen. They will then complete the username and the unique password, click on sign in, and once they are signed in, this is the screen which they will then see. So on this screen, the client will be able to do various functionalities. So you'll see there's quick links for claims. There's a SOS button for emergency services or assistance, which they can request. But that is not the focus for today. So today we want to navigate to the policy screen. And to navigate, they will click on policy. And as soon as they click on policy, they will then be taken to the policy information screen. And immediately you will see there is the client's total premium and the premium is highlighted in red. But besides that the premium is highlighted in red, there's also a red exclamation mark with the payments button. Now, what this tells me as a client is that my premium of 1907.27 is unpaid, and I can now make an immediate payment to Santam by clicking on the payments button. So, and that is what we now want to do. So I'll click on the payments button. And as soon as I click on the payments button, the system will take me to the Your Payments screen. Now, I want you to please keep in mind this red exclamation here, as well as the red amount that displays there. So on the screen, we display again the amount which the client needs to pay with the reason for as insufficient funds, but also now we have a Pay Now button that's available for the client. So the client will now click on the Pay Now button, and as soon as they click on the Pay Now button, we take them to the third-party service provider, which is Centric, and this third-party provider will then facilitate the payment on behalf of Santam. You will also see that the amount which the client needs to pay, 1907.27, also displays there, but that amount cannot be edited. And like I've said earlier on, the client cannot pay any amount less than what is displayed here, or any amount more than what is displayed here. So you'll also see that there are two payment methods available. Remember, only the card option is currently available, which means the client will be able to select the card option. The SnapScan one will still display, but it's not available for selection, which means this button here, or this radio button, is completely grayed out for the client. So the client will tick that little circle there. Once ticked, they can click on continue to move to the next screen. But if they don't want to continue, they can then click on cancel and then remain on the screen or move to the previous screen. In this instance, we want to click on continue. And once we click on continue, this is the second screen of the third-party service provider where the client now needs to complete their card information. Now, once the card information is completed, your name, your card number, expiration date, the CVV number, etc., then the client can click on the Pay Now button. But let's say, for example, the client did not complete the CVV number and they click on the Pay Now button. The system will then display a validation message in that field that is required and that was not completed. And it will tell the client, please complete the information first before you can continue to the next screen. So the client then completes the outstanding information, click on Pay Now, and then we'll display the last page of the client portal, which tells the client, thank you for your payment, your transaction was successful. Or if the payment was not successful, we will then indicate here that the payment was unsuccessful. The client will then have the option to click on the back to portal button, and then they will be redirected to the client portal again. So that is how the navigation of the payment will work for the client via the client portal. Now, let's say, for example, the client, days went by, the client made the payment, and now the client wants to see, did Santam receive my payment? And that is what we are now going to do. So we are now going to inquire on the payment as it is available on the client portal. So the client again will log in as per normal by using the username and the password. They will navigate again to the policies tab. We will display the Your Payments option. And there you will then see, remember the red exclamation and the red amount which displayed there? There's now a green tick. The red amount is now marked in blue. And then the reason for unpaid is still shown as insufficient funds, but the status there shows as pending. This tells me as the client that I have made this payment to Santam, but the amount is not yet reflecting on the Santam financial systems, which means it must first be identified on the internal Santam systems. So now the client goes away and he comes back a few hours later or a few minutes later, and they do the same navigation, log onto client portal, come to the policy screen, view the Your Payments, and now they will see there is a green tick. The amount is there. the collection type now changed from debit order to cash receipt. And you will see that the reason for the unpaid has completely disappeared, as well as the status which was pending. So this will then tell the client that we have received their premium on the Santam side. Now, that is the navigation for the personalized client via the client portal. Now, yesterday during the session and also previous sessions, a lot of our brokers mentioned that they don't receive the RD letter. So the RD letter is also available on the broker portal under correspondence, and I'll illustrate that for you in a little bit. But I think for now, Carmen, we can quickly go and see if there are any comments or any questions about this functionality for our personalized clients.
There is no questions, Franklin, so maybe you can continue.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So the second portion of the navigation will focus on the quick link functionality for our commercial lines clients. So maybe just to summarize the steps before I illustrate it for you. As a client, if I have an unpaid, I will receive a RD letter. On my RD letter, I will have that link. I can then click on that link, and instead of the link taking me to the client portal, as in the case for a personal lines client, for a commercial lines client, the link will take me to the third-party service provider screen, which is eccentric, and I will then be able to make my payment on that specific screen. Okay, so this is what the letter will look like for our commercial lines client. You will see there is the link. So as a client, I will click on that link. Once I've clicked on the link, this is the screen which I will then see as a display. And again, the client will not be able to edit this amount. This will be the amount the client needs to pay. The client will make the payment option. Remember, the snap scan will also be grayed out on this specific screen. The client can cancel to not continue with this payment, or they can click on continue to complete the payment. And once they click on continue, they will then land on the second screen of the third-party service provider and also complete the card information. Once the card information has been completed, they can then click on the Pay Now button. And once click on the Pay Now button, we will then display a message saying, thank you for your payment, the transaction was successful, or we will say the transaction was unsuccessful for the client. Okay, and that is really as easy as that for the commercial lines clients. So very, very straightforward for commercial. No client portal intervention there, only the third-party service provider. And Carmen, I think before we go over to the questions, maybe just to illustrate the screen where the RD letter will display on the broker portal. So on the broker portal, you will log on as per normal. Obviously, search for the client's policy. And once the policy opens on the portal, this is the screen which you will see. And then you will click on the correspondence tab. And there you will see is the RD letter, which you can also then email either to yourself or to your client, or you can download that RD letter there for you.